I have a philosophical belief is that when I come through that door in the morning, I don't care what life has presented me with. I don't want myself nor anyone else bringing what they have toiled and tossed at night with and then put it on the people who work here or the people who are coming here. They did not make you upset. They have nothing to do with whatever you went through.
Good afternoon. This is the first episode of the PCDC podcast. I am here with
Jerry Jones.
Fantastic. And Jerry, for anybody who doesn't know you, what do you do?
I'm the executive director for Pflugerville Community Development Corporation, the economic development arm for the city of Pflugerville, Texas.
Fantastic. Now, Jerry, could you tell me a little bit more about what PCDC does?
Oh, goodness. So PCDC is, again, the economic development arm for the city. So we work on attracting large businesses, or businesses in general. We work to attract businesses here. We work to help retain the businesses that are currently here to help them expand and grow. We also seek to attract retail, restaurant, commercial types of businesses, as well as workforce development, assisting with tying partners to educational opportunities, working with our Pflugerville ISD. We also deal with doing the attraction piece for those workforce opportunities and kind of tying the person to the resource. And then we also work to elevate and amplify the message of Pflugerville and why it's a wise investment to do business here in Pflugerville, in the capital region, and nimble enough to be able to be responsive to a host of things, dealing with developers, dealing with small businesses, site selectors who are looking to come to our community and bring a business here, and just primarily chase after jobs and enhancing the quality of life, along with branding our community and really telling our story.
So obviously we've got so many fantastic businesses here in Pflugerville. When you think about some of the success stories we have and these businesses, what are some of the reasons why they love doing work in Pflugerville?
Well, we have a talented workforce. And being a part of the Texas Triangle, and within that Texas Triangle, having nearly 22 million people within that triangle, we have a workforce that not only can be found here locally in Pflugerville, but we have Killeen, we have Georgetown, Round Rock, Hutto, all the way to the Austin, the Buda, Kyle. That entire area feeds into a workforce that is skilled for advanced manufacturing, some components of life science, which is soon going to ramp up and grow with the major investment that Michael Dell and his family has made to the University of Texas hospital that is being built, the school. And so having the availability of workforce is what really sets this community in this region apart, and having the access and the tie to that workforce and them being able to readily get back and forth is really the gem for us here.
Well, and one of the things that I know from speaking to you is it's important to have all of these talented people, but we need good reasons why they want to stay in our community.
Yes. You know, on what our city leadership, our council, and even our PCDC board has done is they've made a commitment to quality of life. And so when we hear quality of life, what we are hoping that speaks to is, why should families locate here in Pflugerville? There's a reason why we pride ourselves at being the trail capital of Texas. Not just the fastest roadway in America travels through Pflugerville, but our trail system is the most expansive trail system in the state of Texas,
Mm.
which means that we have a belief that people should be able to have different modes of transportation, different routes to be a part of our community and to be able to be a part of the neighborhood, that central focus of being able to know who your neighbors are and be able to communicate with them and build relationships.
Mm.
And so that's what Pflugerville is keenly focused on, is not just job growth and not just attracting businesses, but also making sure that when you get here, that people can have a high quality of life.
Mm. Well, and one of the things that you mentioned, I think, is so important is having that strong community feel. People coming
Yes,
together, supporting each other. I mean, we were at the Slice of Pflugerville Festival
yes,
recently, and you've got so many fantastic folks. You've got council members coming out, hanging out with business people who are hanging out with, just everyday citizens who are hanging out there. And like, to me, that was so powerful because I feel like Pflugerville has this energy where it's such a close knit community. And we've got a city with all of these resources. You know what I mean? It's not like this is a town of 5,000 people. But
correct.
at the same time, somehow we've managed to maintain that community strength. And I think that's so hard a lot of times for cities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the strength of the Parks and Recreation department for the city. They put on the Slice of Pflugerville. They are intentional about making sure that it presents who we are
Mm.
as a community. Pflugerville is the most diverse community in Central Texas. There is um, I'm sorry, I'm from Louisiana. I can't help myself. There's a gumbo pot
Mm.
scenario of just different uh, ethnic groups and backgrounds of people. And so this is one of those communities where you can come to Slice of Pflugerville and get a panoramic view of all the different types of cultural backgrounds that live here and call this place home.
Hmm.
And so parks, recreation tends to bring people together, bring them out of their shell. And what I've seen since becoming a part of Pflugerville is the Parks and Recreation has done an exceptional job at using our public assets to bring us all together
Mm.
to be the community that we already know that this special place can be.
100%. You know, one thing that's kind of interesting to me is on a personal level, uh, obviously you're from Louisiana. Out of all the places in the world that you could work and all the cities in the world that you could support and represent, why did you pick Pflugerville?
So that's a really interesting question. So when I was looking at the information that was provided about Pflugerville,
Hmm.
I saw this community as a unfinished canvas.
Mm.
Right there's a portrait that's already started,
Hmm.
but there's an opportunity for me to grab the paintbrush and add value to that portrait. Um, and that is something that was very attractive to me. Um, the ability to serve as the executive director of this organization and have the ability to um, work with the city government, but be in a position to where small businesses, large businesses
Hmm.
felt comfortable coming to me and saying, hey, I need your help with this. And me having the autonomy to be able to reach out to the city administration and be able to talk to them about whatever that issue is. A lot of times, what I found, even in some of my previous roles, uh, businesses weren't always comfortable coming to me because they saw me as just a part of what they were probably coming to talk to me about anyway, right? So I'm not going to upset anybody by coming to you. I just will find a different community to go and do business with, right?
Hmm.
And so what I've seen since being here now for a year and some change is these developers, these businesses, they feel comfortable sharing things with me. And what I'm able to do is say, hey, I understand how you took it, but let me go back and do some research and find out if this is the way it actually was delivered, right? And what some of the times we come to find out is that it was just a break of communication.
Right.
And I think the biggest thing that anyone who wants to be in economic development is going to understand is that this is a space where we as economic development professionals have to understand how to speak 3 different languages, and that is government, business, and citizens. And oftentimes when there's not a strong presence of an economic development professional in a community, you will see business and government sometimes find themselves battling it out with citizens. And sometimes I've actually witnessed the business community and the citizens battling it out with the government, right? But it takes someone that can go in and say, what I believe to be true is this is what you are looking for, and this is what you find would be successful. And what it appears to me is that you would find this to be successful, and then taking that and articulating it in a way that everybody can get it, and they can all walk away finding value in what was being worked on. That's a skill set that you have to have, and you have to care about the people that you're working with and working for. So,
well, and one of the things that you just highlighted there is the importance of accessibility, and I think that's actually one of the most exciting parts of the PCDC podcast and the resources which we provide here. Our goal is to make conversations about topics like AI or small business resources accessible not just to people who have the time and energy to come talk to us here in person, but anywhere around our city and the region for people who are wanting to learn more about what Pflugerville has to offer. And I also say, and this is something I want to ask you, why is it so important that we make these conversations around business accessible? And then also, how do we do that? Because you're talking about 3 different languages. Man, I can barely speak one well. How do you do 3? You know what I mean?
You ask my wife, she'll probably tell you I'm just now getting the English language down. Well, it comes with time, right? I've been doing this work for 15 years now, and my background, when I was 16, I started out walking and working with campaigns, and did that for a long time. And by the time I was around 29, I became a city council member. And when you realize that as a elected official, you are privy to sensitive information that the outside world, or the public rather, does not have that access to, and that they've placed you in this position for you to make some important decisions that have lasting effects on their community. There's a requirement of a vested right that they have as citizens, that you are expected to say what you can say and inform them to the levels that you can inform them on as you make these critical decisions. A lot of times what I have found is that people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And when a citizen knows that you care, when a business owner knows that you care, you could come to them and tell them that the piece of paper that you hold in your hand is actually blue. They just can't see that it's blue. And they're going to engage you in that conversation, because they're going to say, surely Jerry cares about my time and he's not going to waste it. So I definitely need to hear why he's saying that this paper is blue. But if I don't feel heard, if I don't feel seen, and if I don't feel valued as a business owner in a community or as a citizen, I can't hear you, because I don't feel like you're hearing me. And that's where the rub is. When we can feel like we can make a person feel seen, heard, and valued, the floor is yours at that point.
Jerry, I've seen business owners, small business owners, walk up to you in the middle of the street and tell you sensitive insights about their business and their scenario, and like ask you for your trusted advice in a way that nobody in my family even ever asked me for advice like that. You know what I mean? And like, to me, I'm like, man, you've got to be really good. And PCDC has had to have done a really great job under your watch of building that trust. Because, you know, people are coming there and they're telling you their whole life story.
Yes.
And
yes.
you know what I mean?
I know exactly
it's kind of like
what you...
it's kind of like your family. They know a little bit more about you sometimes than you even would wish.
Well, you know, I'm gonna give you an example. When we have a pillar in our community, Ms. Mott, right? She is literally a historian here in Pflugerville. She knows the backstory to why buildings are in certain places. She knows the whole story, right? You know, my elders would say she knows how the sausage is made, right? And when I got here and we sat down and we talked, she handed me a book that she had written about the history of Pflugerville. And I did my due diligence. You know, I listened to council meetings and the PCDC board meetings before I got here. I read the history about this community, you know, and the impact of what this community has made in this region. So I can't come here and just start doing my thing, right? There's a comprehensive master plan that the city has created. There's a SEDS document that was created that complements the master plan that was in place before I got here. And what I've learned in my capacity is that people have to see that you actually care about where they've been before you start trying to get in the car and driving them to somewhere new. And so we implemented, we just continued to implement what was in the plans and then amplified what we knew this community has the capacity to do to go forward a little bit more elevated, right? But still keep true to what was in the plans, but elevate what and where we can go a little bit further. So it takes planning, it takes caring, it takes listening to the public, listening to people, and engaging them. That's just the reality.
Have you ever seen an example of, like, you know, one thing that's really interesting about me is it takes work to come prepared to a community. You know what I'm saying? You have to read stuff, you're listening, you're paying a lot of attention to history. You've done that work. Have you ever seen an example of what that looks like in a community where someone hasn't done that work?
Oh, absolutely.
What happens?
Yeah, they don't last long. 3 months out, they just, I mean, I've seen, you know, the tenure for economic development professionals is about 2.5 years anyway. And quite honestly, that's because the first year is supposed to be the honeymoon year. Everybody's supposed to still be in love with each other. But then around that 6 months into that first year, they find themselves saying, hey, this is what I'm the subject matter expert on economic development, and here's what I think we should be doing. And they're trying to curve folks into where we should be heading, right? Because surely you hired them. They're the professionals in economic development. Somebody should be wanting to listen to them. And so that last 6 months of that first year, they're trying to curve folks into the direction to where they could actually see some success and growth. And then what that professional realizes is folks aren't trying to listen to me, right? And so then they spend the next 6 months going, maybe I need to refocus, rephrase. Maybe I'm not communicating well. And so then they spend that 6 months. So now you're at 1 year and 6 months of communicating, trying to shift. And so then what you find is that next 6 months that totals out 6 years, they have gotten to a point now where they go, okay, we're at a rub. I need to find another opportunity somewhere else. And so then they spend that 6 months looking for another opportunity. And then the following 6 months, if they make it to that, they are transitioning to their next position. God. And so the best way to keep away from all of that is, one, learn the community that you're coming to and understand the different issues or concerns or thoughts or feelings that you're getting ready to walk into. And the best way to do that is to ask the questions, listen, and actually care.
Oh yeah, revolutionary.
You cannot be in this profession if you don't care about people. In fact, you probably should quickly go down to Workforce Solutions and look for a different solution to your workforce. Yeah. Because this is not, if you don't like people and people ask, good morning, what's so good about this morning? You need to go to Workforce Solutions.
Has anyone ever said that to you? What's so good about this morning?
I had an individual ask me that question one day, and they needed to go to Workforce Solutions.
I'm telling you what, and figure out their Workforce
Solutions. In fact, I don't even know if they need to go to Workforce Solutions, because if I say good morning and you say, what's so good about this morning, I don't know if you need to be in the workforce.
Yeah, maybe they need therapy or something.
I would agree.
Like God will, therapy, some combination of that and the Lord. Hopefully it all works out.
Hopefully by lunchtime. That way, if somebody says good afternoon.
You can never know. I get to be some type of way when I'm hungry. And so, it's like at that point, you never judge what another man or woman has going on.
Through. You're right.
Because, if they miss breakfast for whatever reason, or if I didn't have my coffee, I'm going, hey. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I will tell you this. I have just a philosophical belief is that when I come through that door in the morning, I don't care what life has presented me with. I don't want myself nor anyone else bringing what they have toiled and tossed at night with and then put it on the people who work here or the people who are coming here. They did not make you upset. They didn't have nothing to do with whatever you went through. And I put that is a mode of operation that I operate with, a code of ethics that I operate with, that says, just because I may not be having such a great morning, whoever comes through my doorway, they're going to get treated with the utmost respect, customer service, and hospitality possible, because they didn't create whatever it is that I was going through. And it's not fair that they experience a less than receptive version of me. 100%. So that is something that, it's just, we want you to feel welcome when you come through the doorway here.
Well, and I'll say one thing too. It's like, and I think that applies to you and applies to every other staff member in this place. Obviously, we've got a big and growing team here at PCDC, and every person on the team, I feel like, has that same philosophy which you've instilled here in the organization. One thing I want to compliment you on, I think it's one thing to say you have a philosophy, but to execute it can be really difficult sometimes, especially on our worst days. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I'll say I've been to plenty of events with you and had plenty of long days of talking to people, and never once have I ever seen you be anything but incredibly excited when someone comes up to talk to you. Someone has a question about how they can grow their business, how they can say they've got a new site they're looking at or whatever that is. Or even if it's someone coming in and saying, hey, I'm thinking about moving my business to Pflugerville. I've never once seen you be anything but excited to talk to them. So I respect that.
And that there are times where the moment I walk away and I am away from everybody, I am like, oh goodness. Like, okay. All right. I'm like, it's like, I'm just complete automatically like
100%
deflation, right? But I don't care if that person is standing up there talking to me for an hour. I could be the hungriest person in the world. They won't get to know that because they felt that I was important enough in that moment to share. Business information is some of the most private information you could ever share with another person. And the reason being is because it's your work. It is a reflection of who you are or who you are at least trying to become.
Right.
And so if I take the time to come to you and tell you that my business is failing, what I'm saying to you is I feel like you are a person that I can share with, that I am failing in this moment. That takes a lot of
100%.
humility.
100%.
And so if you have that much trust or faith or a hope that I can be a resource to you for you to share that information with me, you better believe you're going to get my absolute best, because you are sharing with me something that most people struggle with, and that's sharing their worst.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, I one of my mentors in business have always taught me that, this is something I feel like is really true about my company. It's like my ego is so tied up in what I do on a day-to-day basis that the failure of my business would be in effect the failure of my life into this point. And so when I stub my toe metaphorically in a business context, like being willing to tell anybody about what the heck I just screwed up, that's exactly like you said. It's the failure of part of my life.
Yes.
Of the majority of my waking hours during a week is my labor. And if I'm screwing it up somehow, if it's not working somehow, that can be so, it's like psychologically painful. So I appreciate the importance of that.
And I'll tell you, I can't believe I'm saying this. Oh my goodness, I am getting older. Goodness gracious. When you get older, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm saying this. Anyway, you will find that there will be a need to diversify what you feed, because what you feed is what gives you your return on what not only do you find value in, but what others see value in you. And so for me, for years, I saw pouring everything into my profession was the most gratifying thing to my existence. Now I have a wife, now I have kids, and now I'm having to learn how to make that just as, if not more, of my ministry, if you will, than my profession.
100%.
And so the balance of that and understanding that the family and that the wife and the kids are the priority, and that I have to be cognitive of that and then give my absolute best to the people I'm engaged with in that moment. That's a lot of...
No, it takes a lot of bandwidth. Yeah. I want to go back a little bit. One thing that you talked about and just how important it is, and understanding a community, right? Understanding the people within the community. But I think you also touched on the importance of a strong relationship between council, the board, city management, and stuff like that. Could you talk to me a little bit about what it's like working with all of these other people who care so much about making Pflugerville a great place to live, work, and play?
So Pflugerville is a unique community as how it's structured, right? There's probably about less than maybe 10 communities that are structured the way our organization is structured. Like we work, the city council appoints my PCDC board. And then in effect, I serve at the pleasure of the PCDC board. I work with the city management. So if there's a project coming and that project is going to require resources, I work with the city staff in order to coordinate and make sure that those resources serve as a liaison, if you will, to that business trying to come here, or that business that's already here looking to expand or grow, right? And so that's kind of unique because in other Texas communities, the economic developer serves at the pleasure of the city manager. And so that was very when I first got here, well, even before I got here, that was an attractive piece to me, because what it says is that it almost requires that everyone work together and they find an organic way to work. Whereas in other communities, it's kind of, this is how it's going to go, right? And there's no authentic route to develop relationships. It's almost like saying you're having to, the relationship is already designed for you if you have a mother, father, and child, right? Those are already kind of defined roles, right? But when you come in and you say, hey, we're not mother, father, child, we are, hey, there's a council. This council sets the charge and the direction. And then we have city manager who sets and executes what the charge and the mission is to manage the city, right? And then there's the economic development piece that says, hey, we are to execute the vision, the goals and the objectives that spur development, that spur growth, that causes businesses to not only remain here, but causes them to expand, causes them to want to hire more people, causes them to not have to close down or shutter their doors. That relationship, that organic relationship of identifying how to unite voices to achieve those goals and to be able to focus solely on what it is that we need to focus on is unique. When you look at how other economic development organizations are created or used or managed. And so I get the privilege of serving at the pleasure of 7 uniquely different board members who have different backgrounds, who have different things that they care about as they relate to economic development, and then to be able to work with 7 different city council members who also come from different backgrounds, who also have different viewpoints on economic development, and then to be able to work in coordination with city management and the staff over there. This is what attracted me to this community. It is what I believe to be the best prototype to local economic development and governance.
Yeah, well, for me, I think the most important part is you got so many people who care. You know what I mean? It's just like everyone's direction is all towards how do we make life for the people of the city as good as possible. And I think part of the reason why that's clear to me is they spent the time to find and attract somebody as talented as you to come hang out and mess around with us.
I guess the check cleared on that.
Actually, oh my God, you're the worst, Jerry. I can never say anything nice. So, for context, if you ever try to compliment Director Jones here, it will totally deflect it into some other like playing off.
Because it's not about me. It really isn't. It's not about me. And I have a few board members who get so they just want to scream because every time someone tries to compliment me, I always go, "Oh, it's the board, or it's the staff, or it's somebody else." And but it's not. It's not about me. And I think for me, there's a book called Purpose-Driven Life. And the first sentence in that book is, "It's not about you." That's literally the first sentence in that book. And it's my favorite sentence in the book, because when you can know that it's not about you, it becomes a whole lot easier,
of course,
to do what you need to do, because
100%.
it's about everybody else. So yeah, so
I
that's
love
why
that. Well, and I think
I'm always going to deflect.
Yeah. Well, and the people, I think the people of the city can sense when you have someone who genuinely, who believes that. Yeah, I mean, like, who is not just who's saying that because it's a value that they feel like is important. And I think it's why we see dozens and dozens of business owners coming out to every event that PCDC holds and trusting you with with guiding what is in effect their livelihood, with what they spend the majority of their time on, which is the performance of their companies, the performance of their lives. So I wanna leave listeners to our first episode of our podcast with this. Please follow us on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, and then definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be having a lot more videos like this. This is just the first of many conversations with tons of other exciting people around the region. I'm sure, Jerry, this is not the last time that we'll get you on camera. Thanks God.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm gonna be sitting in the background. Every time Jerry talks, I take notes. You guys can't see it. Mental notes.
You guys know this, but can you believe that there are people who actually think I enjoy
God,
the whole, talking on podcasts, videos, and all that? You guys have to chase me down.
Oh, we do. We do.
Even with me in the building, I still manage to hide.
So Director Jones actually does work
Just
most of the
Jerry.
time. So Jerry, all right. So Jerry is doing actually important work, and we have to bother him to get on camera. And so we'll be like, hey Jerry, can we make a video with you talking about all the important stuff you're doing? He's like, no, I'm trying to do more important stuff. Can you leave me alone? Like, okay.
I try to put other people.
Of course. He's like, no, why me? You've got this other great person you should talk to.
Almost gave you somebody one day who didn't even know what.
Oh, he actually did. Every time he does it, he'll just he'll throw someone up and then the personal comes to me, is like, I don't even know who he is. And I'm like, what's going on? I mean, but hey, he's good at his job. We're so excited to be sharing more resources from PCDC with y'all on this podcast. And just to give you guys a little bit more of a heads up, we're going to be talking about real estate in the community, opportunities for development, things along those lines, opportunities for workforce development, something that's really important, both from a business owner perspective, but also if you're someone who's looking to increase your skills, to increase your earning potential for the benefit of you, of your family, this is a great place for you to learn more. And in addition to these full episodes, we'll be putting out short clips of it just to make sure that you don't miss any of the highlights of Jerry's incredible storytelling. My God, if you guys think the stuff that he said on camera is good, you should hear the stuff he says off camera.
I'm glad we don't have a blooper.
Of course. Hey, I mean, that's what happens when we hang out. Thank you all so much for watching. Jerry, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.